the big group, everybody. I hope y'all all enjoyed workshops if you got to go to workshops. Y'all are in for a real treat right now. This is Janet Calvo. She was in season 2 of Lakeshore's Biggest Loser, had huge success, really took on this clean eating thing and has just grown with it, started her own blog. It's been amazing. We've become friends actually too, so I'm really excited to introduce Janet.
Thank you, happy to be here. And thank you to Heather for putting this great event together. And I will tell you, I'm just sort of an amateur. My only purpose here today is to kind of introduce you to the clean eating idea. Who here is just hearing about this? Raise your hands if you're not really familiar with the concept. I first heard about it through my stepdaughter Rachel. She participated in season 1. You'll hear more about her later. But she started talking about clean eating, and I'm thinking, what is that? Like she's just rinsing her stuff off, or I don't know what that means. So I kind of turned to some resources, and there's a magazine called Clean Eating Magazine. When we were coming out for Biggest Loser, Heather would have these out, we could kind of check them. So I started going through them and understanding it. Tosca Reno has written some cookbooks. They're here. You can get them at the library. They're a great resource. But the basic idea is you're trying to stay away from processed foods. So it seems like it's a challenge, but it's really a little bit of just creative substitution. You know, instead of this, have that. So I started kind of doing a few observations around the grocery store, and you know, the whole grain, whole wheat craze is really hit. And I have to share with you, yesterday I was a little bit amused because I saw the Chef Boyardee whole grain beefaroni. Like, ooh, that's going to be so healthy because it's whole grain. You actually save a whopping 10 calories. This has 80 calories of fat. This has 80 calories of fat. So the idea here really is don't be fooled by the label. Just because it says whole grain doesn't mean it's wholesome or awesome. When you're going to the grocery store, you're just really trying to stay around the outside perimeter of the store, fruits, vegetables, dairy, and that kind of thing. So then what happens when you have a dish that you really like me, I love beef stroganoff. Anybody like beef stroganoff? And isn't the sauce so much a big part of it, right? Just lots of sauce. So I'm thinking, well, I can't have beef stroganoff anymore. But then I figured out a way to clean it up. I'm going to show that here to you today. I also was a little bit amused yesterday. Please don't get the whole grain hamburger helper beef stroganoff, okay? Because that's really not going to do it for you. It has 310 calories when it's prepared, which is only 1 cup, and 120 of those are fat calories. So just like, don't do that. So basically, like I said, with clean eating, the idea is substitution. Instead of using this, use that. So when I used to make beef stroganoff, I'd start with beef. I don't do that anymore. I use ground turkey. I'd be sure to look for the no hormones, no steroids, that kind of thing. You know, look at the labels, compare them, make sure you're getting the freshest that's available to you. You can also do this dish with bison. Ground bison is a really lean meat. You can get that at Whole Foods. But ground turkey will do the job just fine. And just like any stroganoff, you're basically going to start by browning your beef. Then I kind of drain it and set it aside. I had to do a little bit of advanced work today here, and I will have samples for you guys to try. But basically all I've done is I've got the ground turkey here, I don't know if you can see that, and mushrooms. I love mushrooms. Raise your hand if you love them. No, you can't do too many mushrooms. Just pile them on, as many as you want. And then when I used to make it, I thought it was so clever because I'd use Campbell's cream or mushroom soup, right, to make it all like just saucy. Then I figured out that's a bad idea because it's 100 calories per container, which is half, or serving, which is a half cup. Half of those are from fat. So we're just gonna kind of ditch that. So instead, I decided, well, I'm gonna use broth, right? Because I can make a sauce out of broth. Well, then I started broth observing. Now this is the chicken broth, 100% fat-free, 33% less sodium, right? Awesome, that's gonna be good for me. Well, then I figured out that 33% less still meant 570 milligrams of sodium. Not so good. This brand we found is called Pacific, and it has 70 grams of sodium. Perfect. So I'm just gonna pour that in here, and then I've let this simmer a little bit. I've got the mushrooms in here, I did some onions, and I'm just letting this broth simmer up. Now, the other part I love about stroganoff is sour cream. It's so good, right? So not good for you. So instead, we're just using fat-free sour cream. No fat. It's perfect. Now, the other thing I discovered is a thickener, because you want your sauce to be a little thick. There's something you can get in the spice section. It's called arrowroot. I don't really even know what it is, but it's a thickener. So as I get here towards the end of my simmer process, I'm just gonna kind of sprinkle some of this on here. I'm just gonna stir it in, and that'll give it a little bit more of the consistency like I used to like with my Campbell's cream of mushroom soup. On the noodles, I used to just use noodles, right? Because noodles are noodles. They're gone, and now we have these noodles, which are whole wheat, so it's just a little bit better for you. If you like rice, you can also make this dish over brown rice. So I've just kind of stirred this in here. I pre-prepared my noodles this morning. And then all I'm gonna really do here, it's so easy, is just add my sour cream. I'm gonna put a little bit of sea salt and some ground pepper on it, and then I'm gonna serve it up for you folks to try. Does anybody have any questions? It's pretty simple, right? Except for getting it out of the tub.
You got the
That's
top
not so
on it?
simple.
I should take it out. No, I'm talking about the.
That's why we use the spoon.
So light
So
it when
good.
it come out.
Just stirring that in there. Did it smell good when you guys came in? I'm going to add a little bit more of the arrowroot to try to thicken it up just a wee bit more. So there's no questions here this morning? Nobody's curious? Who's willing to go home and give it a little try? Just little substitutions, a little bit here, a little bit there. It doesn't have to be anything drastic. It doesn't have to be anything major. It's just little changes that you make in your daily food prep. Andrew, would you bring the bowl up, please? Everybody, Andrew Calvo.
Sir. Start to finish, how long does it take to do it?
Start to finish, we have one question from the audience. It takes me about a half an hour to 45 minutes to make this dish. It's not too long. Put some sea salt. I recommend the sea salt, definitely. Who likes pepper? Pepper people? And basically, folks, that's it. I'm going to have Andrew set it down here. There's a copy of the recipe here for you to take home, and a little cup if you'd like to try some. And thanks for coming out.
Well, doesn't it smell delicious in here? Who's hungry? Yes, it's lunchtime. I want to give you just tell you what's going on for lunch. There's several options you can do. If you brought your lunch, you can eat it wherever you want. We do have some meals available. Olive Garden, our Antioch Olive Garden, actually donated lots and lots of salad for today. So we want to definitely thank Olive Garden. Yay, Olive Garden. Our Lakeshore Christian Church Women's Ministries hospitality team, that's a mouthful, they donated all yummy, delicious, healthy homemade soups out there. So you can get salad soup and a bottle of water for $3. There's also a Subway just around the corner if you turn left on Bell Road. That's the only fast food restaurant I will tell you about. So those are your options for lunch. Definitely want to thank our sponsor again, Shunworthy Lifestyles, because your fresh start starts with a positive approach to life. Make sure you stop by their booth. You still have a chance to win. They've got a great giveaway they're going to be giving away after lunch, so make sure you stop by. Oh yeah, if you're leaving, don't stay gone too long because we've got awesome things happening at 12:45 is our Delvin Farms presentation.